YouTube, we are back and it is the B day of our full body every other day split. So this is going to be some alternative exercises. We're kind of starting in a very similar area to where we left off in the last session, with it being hip thrusts and glute focused, but we're in two minds right now whether we're going to stay in prep or if we're going off season. So it's going to be a bit of a one where I have to make the decision, but I'm not sure, quite honestly. So we're just going to run with this, treat it a little bit as a prep, but with some slightly higher calories. So it's going to be contributing to the reverse. And then next week, I got to really make the decision whether this is going to be it or not. It's just going to be really tough with everything that I've got going on in the next few weeks in terms of travel. So being able to train and get things in effectively. You'll notice we're going single leg pattern for the glute bridge. So we're actually treating this as our first exercise, our warm-up exercise. So slightly lower intensities than say a working set, but enough intensity to get the job done. And this program is basically gonna be kind of just cycling through a few different exercises so that over time everything gets an exposure. So every other day we're getting some form of high intensity exposure for the specific muscle. So because it is single leg, we're just gonna go one warm-up set, one feeder set, not my typical warm-up format, but that should be enough. Then we'll do some abduction, and then we've got some pull downs. Today's going to be a little bit more focused towards the upper body compared to the last session that you will have seen, and then we're going to go back to the lower body on our C day. So a little bit of changing. And I know that out there people want to stay on the same program because they're worried that by changing the exercise variety up too much, they'll lose the stimulus. But keep the patterns very, very similar and then use different exercise equipment. So if you wanted to do this hip thrust, you could do it with dumbbells, barbells, machine, Smith machine. They're all good variations to have in your program. All right, we are going to rest between sides because the last time we did this session in terms of the full body, we were out of breath in a lot of these sets. We rushed through it quite a lot. Now, we're on the weekend right now, so we can be a little bit more longer with our rests. So I always advise on your weekend sessions where you have more time, take more rest. Damn. And the good thing is we've got a lot of carbs in our system right now. We carb loaded yesterday and the day before, so we should have plenty of energy for this session. Now I have to be careful because of the reverse in that I don't want to introduce too many calories, too many carbs, because we can spill out. And I did wake up this morning feeling like my abs were kind of gone, I'm not gonna lie. But we'll go back into a slightly more moderate calorie deficit today, and then we'll go into our usual off day deficit tomorrow. And then treat this week, see how the body responds to the training program, see if it's feasible. The tough thing that I've got is I do travel this week, so finding gyms on the road with day passes is going to be a bit of a challenge. I won't have a car, I won't have transport, and that's another reason for this decision of, do I go off season and take the hit that I'm not going to be able to get in the gym as much as I usually would like, because I don't want the program to suffer. I put myself in a place where I'm going to automatically fail if I do a prep. So that's a tough thing. But first world problems. All right, abduction time. Oh, we gotta check the weight. I have to change my app to kgs. I feel like I keep saying this, but clearly I keep forgetting to do it. So, just one set of abductions here. Again, we should be fairly warm from hip thrusting, so if you do follow this program, you should have a decent amount of blood flow to the area. And so this, you should be able to go fairly high intensity. We're gonna have to start gym pinning this one. Just one set. Now we're moving to some lat stuff. All right, so now a little bit of lat stuff in the warm-up. So you remember last session, we kind of went, primary exercises was glutes, lats with the clusters. Now we've bumped those to the warm-up, so we can focus on some other areas for our primaries. And once again, we're just gonna try and blast this. Okay, gotta pull this a little closer. There we go. The other problem with this is the bench moves a little bit, so I wish there was just a slight better version, which would probably be your pullover machine, if I'm being honest. And so we're getting good pumps from this, at least. Even though everybody hates the pump these days, which is kind of crazy. This is one of the first times that I've took pre-workout in a long time. This little block, and yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about it, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's hitting right now, which is interesting. So again, between the unilateral exercises, at least a minute rest, maybe a little bit more, but go off your own feel. If you are stuck for time, it's going to have to be shorter rest periods to get this session done. And I always forget to start on my left side. I don't know why that is, if there's like a psychology. Oh, that felt good. All right, we're gonna switch the position up and go into next set. All right, frontal plane flap time. Oh, whew. That's good. And 7. Whew. So you notice that we cuff these to shorten that external moment arm, and I've really enjoyed those. And we are using the butterfly cuff, so make sure you tap in. My affiliate link is going to be in the comments section, in the description of the video. And so help me out, because we want to get the good word out there for these cuffs, as they are really, really great. And it's going to be time to gym pin on this next session, I think. Oh, that's good. Looking pretty full, not gonna lie. All right, so we're gonna be doing something a little different we haven't done for a little while. And let's do curls at the start of the sessions. All right, so forget everything that you've heard on TikTok about training the biceps with recline curls, Bayesian curls, preacher, incline. This is going to be your S-tier bicep exercise, and we're going to call it the freaky concentration curl, because we're going to be bent over, braced, and then our shoulder about 70 degrees. And you can see the resistance throughout that whole range is really tough, but it's also super tough as we get through that 90-degree position and beyond. Whereas in like some standard curls, we get a little bit of joint stacking up here, so the resistance isn't as hard typically. And the other thing is, by having our arm down and our chest leaning forward, we're actually getting a little bit of a hypoxia too, which could contribute to slightly higher recruitment thresholds when it comes to the higher threshold motor units. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the make or break here, but we have multiple mechanisms at play that create mechanical tension. And so we've kind of forgot that hypoxia is one of those methodologies. And so limiting some of the venous return here is actually going to be a good thing. one of my other tips for this exercise is we want to hold the dumbbell slightly on that more outside so that we can supinate and push more into supination as we curl. Because the primary role of the biceps fascicles is not only elbow flexion, but also supination. And that's why even with the resistance profile being hard and these high degrees of flexion, there's still going to be a lot of bicep contribution there, even if we do experience some active insufficiency because of the way the resistance profile is and because we're actively supinating at the top. So while brachioradialis and brachialis will experience a little bit more load share up in those deeper flexion positions, we're still getting biceps here. We want more brachioradialis, pronate. That's where we need to be with that. So this is still technically what I'm classifying as the warm-up block or freshness block, because we're still working pretty hard here. And that's where this is an exercise that typically you would see at the back end of my sessions. Whereas like now, putting it in at the start when the arms are more fresh to actually get direct bicep work while they're not fatigued. Because we do use our biceps and arms quite a lot in all of our other exercises. And it is a unilateral curl. We can do this bilaterally if you want. I find it a little bit harder to balance if I'm being honest, but it is possible. Okay, second set. And the other thing as well, if you've never done these before, they are actually pretty hard. And that's where 20 kgs can feel pretty heavy. Tell me which one's my weak side right now. And this one we did remember to go weak side first, so left side first. Whew. That blood flow is going to my head right now. We're finally getting the fake tan peeling off as well, which is kind of funny. I look like I've got some form of like skin rash, which is kind of wild. And the other thing, again, I know people hate this right now, but you do get sick pumps with this exercise. All right, that's freshness block done. Now into our cluster stuff. All right, we got cluster warm up and then a few cluster sets. Felt good. Add a little nugget. And then just a little bit of rest. So like 30-ish seconds. The one thing that I've been doing with, and you probably already know, my left shoulder doesn't feel amazing. So some of these push variations I might take out of the program soon and just stick with a little bit more adduction with the flies, as it doesn't seem to bother me as much. So we'll make executive decision on that. And you notice last time we hit chest, we actually did single arm push pattern. Now we're going back to our double with clusters. Another ad. And this technically is what I have for working weight today. So we'll go 4 or 5, rest, 4 or 5. So we went 120, 140, now we're at 160. All right. Oh, that's good. All right. So, 1 minute clusters. Stick at this weight, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 more clusters, and then a failure set. So I might just go off camera for this, or set up a new angle maybe. So you might be wondering why the clusters. Again, I tried to explain this in the last video, so if you haven't seen it, don't worry, I'm going to explain it again. We're trying to accumulate some volume at slightly higher intensities. So this is roughly my approximate 80% max, between 75 and 80%. And so we should be in our activation thresholds for mechanical tension early in the set. And so now it's about just adding reps to that, more volumes than what I would have got from 2 sets of failure in my previous block. And so we play on the rest period being short enough to dissipate fatigue, but not long enough to fully recover. So it's a little trade-off between the metabolic fatigue and mechanical tension. Now, if for whatever reason we do need more rest, we can always take it. So that's the other good part of clusters, is you can treat it as just a normal set as well. I feel like I've got about 1 to 2 reps in reserve here. So we know that we're at the right intensity. And the clear thing is with this is the intensity. You can't be doing these clusters, this type of format, with like 50% or 60% of your 1 rep max. You need at least 70 plus, preferably more towards 80, because we want to hit those rep activation thresholds from rep 1 and 2. So that effective reps model is purely based on the intensity factors and some history-dependent behavior, because again, if we do get too much fatigue, we are going to see a reduction in fiber force and recruitment. So that's the kind of trade-off that we're playing with the clusters here. So we're hoping early on, shouldn't be too much fatigue going into each cluster. Okay, so that's the point now that we know that I gotta take more rest because we didn't hit our reps. So 2-minute rest. Now we're gonna go and reload with the last clusters. And that's how we on the fly can program. So knowing that I was hitting 5 reps in the previous sets, only getting 4 in that last one. We are classifying the push-off as a rep there. So that's where we know that now we've got to give more rest because I didn't hit my target. Still effective stimulus, still effective reps. We technically hit failure, but that's not what we're trying to do with the clusters. We're wanting to dissipate some of that fatigue. And that's the beauty of being able to program for yourself. Because in those situations, if you're purely just looking at a program, and you're like, well, it says I have to hit 5. I could have rest paused, I could have done something else. But instead, I know now just to give myself more rest. And then probably also a little bit of fatigue coming from actually talking to you guys and talking to myself on the camera. All right. So I'm actually going to increase the rest a little bit because, again, perceptually, I feel like I just need to get my breath back a little bit more. So 2 minute 30 rest, if you are following this. And I keep locking my phone. I don't want to lock my phone. It's like force of habit. All right, 30 more seconds. Sometimes I just do like just sitting here in silence, just reflecting on what's coming next, visualizing this next set, making sure I attack this set and fucking crush it. There we go. Oh. So we got back to our rep range, but definitely moving a slight bit slower. So again, from our minute, we're just going to go to a minute 30. And then we do get to do a little back down set to failure. So you're going to be thinking, well, Craig, that's going to accumulate fatigue. That's okay. Again, 1 set to failure at the end. We don't really have much more chest theme in today's session, so this is all of our targeted chest stuff. I guess technically we do have dips, but we're doing this before dips so that we actually fatigue the chest a little bit, so triceps get a little bit of stimulus. This is the tricep warm-up. So because we do have elbow extension, there's always going to be a little bit of tricep in this one. But again, my thought process with the clusters is accumulate volume with giving little bits of redistribution of the rest so we can work at slightly higher intensities. So right now we've hit 5, 10, 15, 19 repetitions at my theoretical 75 to 80% 1RM, which in 2 sets of failure I would probably get that. But now I'm adding another set and then we're going to have another set. So we're going to be well above our repetition volumes. And I don't know who is spreading the message that volume load isn't important for hypertrophy, because it definitely is. Like, the more repetitions and time under tension that we can get in terms of mechanical tension, not tempo, but mechanical tension, which is the exposures of repetitions and the volume of those repetitions, that is going to be the key determinant of hypertrophy. Oh, no, that felt heavy. Okay. All right. Now we get the nice thing. Yeah, nice little back down set. All right, so the unique thing with this is our set to failure we're going to be doing it a slight little bit different to what you may have seen before. So, not going to lockout, staying in that partial position. That was the goal there. Alright, so we're going pull downs.
I'm going to do leg press. Okay, so I'll do whatever you want to do.
So a little warm-up set here. Even though back is kind of warm, just to gauge the weight. I know I mentioned that we were going to go tricep dips straight away, but we pivoted a little bit because the machine is being used as well. So we're going to put our cluster format in for this too. So a little bit more push-pull style going on with today's session. There's still some legs in there, obviously, so it doesn't strictly make it anterior, posterior, or anything like that. But this is where we are. So 5 to 6 rep range on this should be about where we are. Alright, I think we can actually do a cluster ad on this one. That was kind of easy. Oh, so let's see. We had 60 there. Yeah, that was fairly easy. So add. So again, this one's a little bit more upper body focused. My other day is definitely more lower body focused. But lots of exercise to get through. So this is a 90-minute plus session. And especially with the longer rest that I'm taking on the weekends, it's going slightly longer. Ooh, that's better. That's the right weight for today. rushing the cluster a little bit from a side to side aspect. So I will take slightly more rest on this next set, just to maximize quality of our repetitions. And we're keeping the camera rolling today rather than going between reps and sets. So when we get to our single exercises where it's just one set failure, it'll be a bit more rapid fire. Two more. Wow. All right. Starting to feel it. That's for sure. Put the ballad on right here. All right, one more cluster. One more. One more cluster. All right, come on. I'm going to take a little rest between sides for this last one. Try and get most out of this right arm. Okay, come on, Craig. Okay. A little length and partial. Oh, this is fucking bullshit. got sets to failure on this. Whew. Shoulder feeling okay. All right. Set 2. There we go. Alright, now we got single exercises, the fun stuff. Shit. Oh, the 8 awesome. Now we're into a 1 set to failure block. Ooh, so this is going to move fast. Alright, check the weights out real quick. Come on, rest pause. Okay. So, a little rest pause on the lower body because we're not doing as much volume compared to upper body today. So that's the other kind of little set, sneaky extension technique that we're going to use within this program. Oh, next exercise. Let's see if I can hit this. All right, easy. Oh, we are rolling. All right, heavy arse quads time. Heavy arse quads time. Ooh, this machine is way back today. This might be one of the hardest quad exercises I've ever done in my life. Being leaned all the way back, I can feel every fiber literally activating right now. Rest pause fucking sucks. Whew. Oh, okay, that's good. All right, we're back. Triceps. That was fair. Damn. Maybe overcooked it on the weight, but we'll go down, do a back down set. Bridge to crawl. I actually have no idea what's next on the program. All right, one of my favorites, little low to high fly. Oh, all right, we're gonna stay on camera for the rest period here. This unilateral. We are aiming to get the cuff a little bit more like mid forearm rather than at the elbow. And so slightly longer moment arm, external moment arm. They also pumped the music today. So it's a great environment to get fucking swollen. Also, I'm sorry if I'm swearing today. I got a lot of energy. But we're at that part of the session now where things do start to slow down a little bit. We've been in here for a little while. But just one set. That's all it is. This program actually feels fucking really good. Rear delta and sticking with that single arm theme. Oh, definitely not doing that weight. But the deltas. Oh, probably go heavy. It's a little in between. Let's do that. See how that feels. Oh yeah, that's some more. Oh. One day we'll hit the 50 kg rear delts, but that day is not today. All right, we're almost at the end, I promise. Big booty day. Big booty day. Oh shit, that went flying. Oh, so a little high repper there. I definitely underestimated the weight. I probably could have put that a little bit lower, but we know for next time. All right. Oh, we gotta get this. So we actually could have stayed at the other cable stack and done this. So for next program, I'll probably just add this in after my rear delts. But we live and learn the programming flow next time. That's way too high. It's supposed to be 20, not fucking 35, Craig. Come on. Okay. That's better. We're getting there. 2 more exercises. All right. We're almost there. And yes, we are training abs. Alright, I don't know if I try side bends in here. I feel like I'm gonna fall out. So we're gonna try off camera. Alright, the last exercise of today's program. Toes down time. Oh.